I am going to start becoming successful. But before that, I gotta check my notifications. Okay, now I'm ready to go to work. But I'll do that after I eat. No more messing around. I'm going to change my life around after one more game. You continue to do these bad habits and you never go anywhere. You keep trying and trying, but you just keep procrastinating. One of the biggest reasons why we procrastinate is because of the habits. If we have bad habits, that'll just get in the way whenever we do try to do productive tasks. So building up good habits is one way in order to be not only more efficient in your work, but also be more motivated to do it. And also have more fun while doing it and be more automatic. Wouldn't you wish to do a task without putting any effort in it? Can you imagine doing something that makes you money with no problem? If you build good habits, you can do this. You'll just be an overall happier person if you just incorporate good habits. So stick around by the end of this video because I'm going to teach you some of the good habits that you can implement into your own routine. Now it's kind of obvious why we should avoid bad habits. They cause depression, lack of motivation, laziness, and it makes you dependent on instant dopamine. If you become too dependent on these things, it'll be too late to turn back. You'll rely on them to cause any form of enjoyment, and the motivation to do good habits will become lower and lower. Build the good habits while you can. The fact that you're watching this video just means that you want to incorporate good habits. Either you want more motivation in including these habits, or you just don't know what habits to implement. Either way, I first suggest taking the bad habits away and implementing the good one. And the number one bad habit that you should eliminate entirely is watching porn. Not only does it take away your semen, but it also takes away your mental health. It's kind of weird how much it takes away from you, because it really, all you're seeing is two people having intercourse with one another. But porn is one of the reasons why people are more lonely nowadays. So not only does it create that figure of a woman unrealistic, but it also shows how sex is not really is. And in turn, like, you build up your own expectations from what you see. And if you do that, then you're probably gonna be scared to not only go up to a pretty girl, but also whenever it comes time to the bed, you're also gonna be scared of incorporating your own style. Porn basically trains your brain to be a cuck, to like watching other people have sex. You don't want to do that. You don't want to be that guy who sits in the corner and jerks off while the girl that you want is getting railed by other stronger guy. Eliminate this entirely. If you just need a release, just do it at nothing. I prefer you just do it at nothing instead of looking at two other people. Even better, if you can release with a girl, that is like the best outcome. But never ever in your life watch porn again. You literally have no argument why you would continue to watch it. Like, there's no benefits. Entertainment is not really entertainment. Well, I mean, yeah, it kind of is entertainment, but like, most modern entertainment is bad. Let's just get that out of the way. You know, I'm gonna skip a couple bad habits you should avoid, and let's just go straight forward to media consumption. So overall, all media consumption nowadays is bad. There's rarely any type of media who produces good information. I only know like a couple of YouTubers who actually like give good quality information, or like does good interviews with high-minded people, or even better, motivates you to do something that you don't want to do. Only recently has people started doing this, and mostly on YouTube, or like you could also say shorts, but like I feel like it's kind of harder to find informational style videos because I feel like the TikTok algorithm is so good on finding what you like. So in order to get those type of videos, you have to go out of your way to search those up. So it's really hard to find good quality information and advice nowadays through all these social media platforms. And not to mention the social media platforms where you can talk to other people. Since social media can reach a huge amount of people, that allows you to find people who don't even have a brain, who shouldn't even be in this world, who shouldn't even have a voice. This is how social media has connected us in a bad way. Twitter is the best example of this. Like, the most rotten people are in there. Like, there's literally, I don't see the entertainment. All I see is like the bad side. That's all I've seen of it. Same thing with Reddit. I mean, I can see having a good community, but again, finding a good community is kind of rare nowadays. And the worst thing about it, you know, I could even argue that social media wastes more time than video games, because on social media you can use anywhere. You can literally get your phone out anywhere and just start scrolling. Either when you're trying to get some work done, when you're eating, when you're taking a shit, you can literally always just get your phone out and get distracted. And I feel like the ability to do so kind of makes it so you waste more time. And the more time you're on it, and the more stimulated your brain is, the less dopamine you have from other sources. And if you have less dopamine from other sources, then you can't really enjoy life. You can't really get dopamine from like talking to a friend or achieving your goal or working out. Like, if you consume dopamine from easy sources, that'll decrease dopamine that you get from good sources. So I recommend not like entirely deleting social media right away. I feel like that's that's really hard to do, especially nowadays. But I would suggest like kind of decreasing it little by little and kind of like control your surroundings, because no matter what, people around you are gonna be talking about popular topic, and then when you hear about that, you hear about some show that came out, you're probably gonna be more interested in it because you haven't had media consumption for a long time. So I would suggest, instead of just deleting it entirely, just reduce it little by little until it becomes a habit. Now I'm putting these two in the same category together. They're both types of consumption, and that is drugs and junk food. I feel like drugs is a no-brainer why you should avoid it, but the fact is, most people try to cope when it comes to consuming this. Like, I feel like my generation is the generation that is most okay with using drugs, because I see literally everybody doing it, which is kind of surprising because there's all these commercials about don't do drugs, and there's all these people talking about how it's bad for you, and yet people still ignore it. There's literally no benefits from it. I mean, I guess you could say benefits in productivity or sleep, depending on the type of drug that you do, but still, no matter what, it's gonna mess up your brain. And then when it comes to junk food, well, it's pretty obvious. The more fat you gain, the more unproductive you are. Simple as that. So now that we've gone over some of the bad habits that you should avoid, these are some of the habits that you should do. And I will say the three most important habits that you should do is gratitude, meditation, and exercise. I feel like gratitude is the best when it comes to improving your mental health, because when you're mostly depressed, you're not really thinking about the positive aspects of your life. You're mostly just focused on the bad side of it. By forcing yourself to literally be grateful, you're forcing your brain to think of the good side of life. And meditation has been really surprising for me, because when I started it, I really didn't think too much of it, but as I kept doing it more and more, the more I realized that it kind of makes me have a better understanding of my brain and my emotions. It's kind of weird, and like I also feel myself being more calmer whenever I do meditate. I don't know the scientific aspects of it, but if I had to guess, I think it's because you're constantly relaxing your brain and you're constantly focused on what. Oh yeah, and it also increases your focus. So you're pretty much improving your mental health, your temper, and your focus. So as a matter of fact, if I suggest any of you guys to start with anything, I would suggest starting with meditation. And of course, we have to talk about exercise. It is really surprising how exercise helps your mental health, but I mean, it makes sense because you're constantly accomplishing little goals. Like, you're constantly improving, and if you constantly improve, then that builds up your self-confidence. You'll say like, oh, if I can accomplish this, then I can accomplish anything. And by accomplishing these little goals, it also makes you look better, and the better you look, the more people look highly of you, and then the more people look highly of you, the better your mental health is. There's also other factors, like the fact that you're constantly in a state of pain, and some scientists have proven that like the more pain you endure, the more dopamine you get, but like, you know, that safe amount of pain. Like, I would compare this to like taking a cold shower. Cold shower is like a good type of pain where it hurts really bad, it doesn't really harm you, but it still gives you good dopamine. Same thing with weightlifting. It doesn't really harm you unless you have bad form and you injure yourself, but it doesn't really harm you, and it gives you good dopamines from the pain. So really, these are the three habits that I strongly recommend you implement. As a matter of fact, I recommend you implement these habits in the morning. I feel like if you do 4 sentences of gratitude, 30 push-ups, and 10 minutes of meditation, I feel like that's good enough to help you on your way to become successful. So another habit that you can implement is kind of one that you don't really have control over, because you don't really have control over the people that you have in your life, but I'm recommending you talk to masculine men. I would recommend it will be in person, but you're mostly not gonna find that many people who are in self-improvement as well. The gym would be the best way to meet people like this, because, you know, people who work out tend to be more masculine, but like working out is one thing, but like if they don't do anything besides that, if they're just satisfied with just working out, then they're not really overall that masculine. Being masculine means being consistent and disciplined, and discipline can apply to other aspects outside of the gym. You can measure how masculine a guy is based on how smart they are. I feel like that's a better way to measure if a guy is masculine instead of looking at their body. But if you socialize with good men, you'll incorporate some of the good habits that they also have. There's this saying that you're like the 5 people you spend your time around. Well, if you spend your time around masculine men, then you'll be expected to be masculine as well. Now, the last habit that I want you to incorporate is reading. Same thing with talking with masculine men. If you keep reading good books from smart people, you'll eventually start to incorporate the same mindset that those smart people have, because you're constantly looking at their thoughts, looking at the decisions that they make, the stories they tell. If you have these constant reminders in your mind, then you're probably more encouraged to incorporate some of the things that they talk about. It's only a matter of the people you choose to read. If I had to recommend one book that'll make you more masculine, I recommend The Way of the Superior Man. This book talks about masculine energy and feminine energy, and it'll give you a good understanding of it. It will also have a better mindset. So I feel like if you read this book and you truly understand everything about it, you're kind of killing two birds with one stone, because you're getting a better mindset and you're also learning about masculinity. So that's gonna be it for all the habits that I recommend for now. I do plan on learning more habits I want you guys to do, but first I have to incorporate some things myself. I have to see what works and doesn't work. That way I can know for certain it will work good for you. So thank you everybody so much for watching this video. If you liked it, make sure to leave a like, subscribe if you're new, or if you like my channel, and yeah, always remember to live your life like there's no tomorrow.